Ma'am, I still can't hear you.
Hello, you can hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay.
But ma'am, your voice is echoing.
Yeah, just now it is echoing.
No, no, that's fine.
Perfectly fine. Okay, let us start.
Yeah.
Okay. So how was the exam?
My exam was fine, it was average, but actually what happened was the whole question paper was numerical based.
Yes.
All was
Okay. Okay, I got it. I got it. I told
yeah,
you,
so
na.
yeah,
The one which I did, it will be of that type only. Correct.
yeah.
Yes,
See,
yes,
I,
yes. Then
I did fine with the Cournot question, but I got stuck. There was this question based on cartel.
cartel. Okay, okay. There is two
Yeah,
types: price leadership and cartel. So for that, I guess you faced a problem. Correct.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I got it. Okay, okay. I got it. Okay. So let us start with the theory. Until and unless we are done with the theory, so you have Kunno, Bertrand, and all those things. So we will start with today. Then I was ended up with the that one reaction curve that day.
Okay.
Okay, so we will do with that one. I will do yeah. These are sums based. This oligopoly, all those things are no sums based. So how the reaction curve works? So it will be like this. Okay. So here we'll go like okay. So one is based on another. So here, if I consider the quantity being 100, 75, 50, 25, 12.5. So this you consider as firm one's reaction curve. And this you consider as firm two's reaction curve. And this is your what? Cournot equilibrium. Correct? So
Okay.
how to interpret this? Last day, if you remember, I told you that it starts like first one's reaction based on another reaction. So form one's reaction curve shows how much it will produce as a function of how much it thinks form 2 will produce. So it is not independent, it is interdependent. Form 2 will produce. So here you can see that at Q2 says 0, 50, and 75, they are corresponding in the example. I have drawn the data. So accordingly, form 2, this is form 1's reaction curve, depending on then the firms 2. So accordingly, they decide. So what happens in a Cournot equilibrium? Each firm correctly assumes the amount that its competitor will produce and thereby maximizes its own profit. We
Okay.
can, yeah. So basically, the result will be how the result will look. The result will be a reaction curve for firm 2. So that means a schedule Q2 star given Q1 on the basis of that for form 2. That relates its output to the output that it thinks firm 1 will produce. So, if firm 2's marginal revenue or marginal cost curve is different from that of firm 1, so its reaction curve will also differ in form. Okay. So Cournot equilibrium is basically, as I told you, how much will each firm produce. We call the resulting set of output level from this intersection as a Cournot equilibrium. Now this Cournot equilibrium, I was last at equilibrium in the Cournot is in which firm correctly assumes how much its competitor will produce and sets its own level. Now let's walk through an example. The mathematics which we did directly, I did with you the sum. But what is the computation? Suppose we take a linear market demand.
Ma'am,
Yeah, sorry. Tell me.
can you explain जो आपने the para that you have made me write from like this thing? Like if
Here,
firm two, yeah,
this
below,
one.
yeah, if firm two MRMC cost curve is differently at this point.
Yeah, surely. See, you in front of you, last day's diagram is there. Last day's diagram, we did one. That diagram is there with you now.
Yeah.
Okay. So here, if you see that if farm 1 thinks that farm 2 will produce nothing, then what it produces? Let me draw the diagram. So it was quantity and it was price. So here it is like this. And if we consider this, this was MC, correct? So here it is MR and it is demand. So demand for 0 and MR for 0. And this was how much? 50. Now, again from here, the lines will be drawn. So here it is 25. Again from here, I will draw a line and it will be 12.5. And it is for marginal 75. It is for 50. Accordingly, we do the marginal revenue curve and the demand curve. This is your demand curve for 75. So accordingly, we do. This is for your demand curve 50. Okay. Now, if farm 1 thinks that farm 2 will produce nothing, then how much it will produce?
50.
50. If it thinks farm 2 will produce 50, then it will produce 25. And if farm 2 will produce 75, then it will produce
12.5.
12.5. So, and if it thinks farm 2 will produce 100, then farm 1 will produce
0.
nothing. So, farm 1 profit maximizing output, farm 1 profit maximizing output is thus a decreasing schedule of how much it thinks farm 2 will produce. So we call this scheduling, we call it as farm 1's reaction curve. From the name only it infers, correct? Because it is looking that how much farm 2 is doing, and then it is planning. How much 1 is doing, then it is planning. So that is Q1 star by Q2. Now you understood?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I told you that we can understand then what will be the form 2's reaction curve. So similarly, the result of form 2's reaction curve will be Q2 given Q1 star
Hmm.
based
Okay.
on Q1. So that only I told you that if form 2 marginal revenue or marginal cost curve is different from that of form 1, then its reaction curve will also differ. Because if your cost is different, then your production, your quantity, your output, all will be different. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Now you understood.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now let us do with the question. How much I have noted down? Let us consider a linear demand curve, okay? Because since these are all sums based, and basically this perfect competition, monopoly and oligopoly are basically sums based, and then you are having game theory. So this we need to do properly. So here, let's take a two identical firms. We take, and they face a linear market demand curve. Okay. So now this will help you to clarify the Cournot equilibrium. So say, suppose the duopolist face the following market demand curve. So what are they? P is 30 minus Q. So where Q is what? Q is the total production of both firms. So that is Q1 plus Q2. Okay. So now, and we consider that both firms have zero marginal cost. Okay. So that is MC1 is equals to MC2. So that is 0. So now we can determine the reaction curve of firm 1 to maximize. How we will do that? So say R1 being, if I set a revenue, so to maximize profit, it will set marginal revenue to marginal cost curve. So R1 will be PQ1. So that will be 30 minus Q multiplied by Q1. This is 30 minus Q and you multiplied by Q1 for Q1. So 30 Q1 minus Q1 plus Q2, that is multiplied by Q1. So that is 30 Q1 minus Q1 square minus Q2 Q1. So its marginal revenue is just the incremental revenue resulting from an incremental change in output. So that is MR1 is del R1 of del Q1. So that is 30 minus 2Q1 minus Q2. The differentiation. Now, this is the way you note it down that you have to solve the Cournot sums, which you can do. Okay. Now,
Okay.
setting MR1 equal to 0. So, 0 means the firm's marginal cost. And solving for Q1, what we find? Firm 1 reaction curve. So if you set the marginal revenue to 0 and you found out the Q1, you get the firm 1 reaction curve as 15 minus half Q2. Okay. And similarly, applies for firm 2's reaction curve because both are same. So similarly for firm 2, the reaction curve will be 15 minus half of Q1. So this equilibrium output levels are what? Are values for Q1 and Q2 at the intersection of these two reaction curve. And if you replace Q1 with the expression on the right hand side, like you can say, you can get the equilibrium output level. So Cournot equilibrium will be Q1 equal to Q2 being 10.
Hmm.
Okay. So the total quantity produced will be what? 20. 10 plus 10, 20. Total quantity will be 20. So equilibrium market price is what? That is 30 minus Q.
So how did
That
we get 10?
when you solve for this two, like you are having equation, so you replace this Q2 in place of Q1. Here you are
Okay,
having
okay.
equation. So if you put Q1 value because you are getting from here, then it is same equation. So you get Q1, Q2 as 10. Simple, just simultaneous equation. Getting?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So here it is Q1 plus Q, both will get 10, 10. So it is total quantity 20. Correct? Now, what is your equilibrium market price given? That is 30 minus Q, that is 10. And each firm's profit, how much? 100. So, if you draw the diagram, how it will look. This is for this part. 30 and it is 15.
And
So
how
it
did
will
we get
be
100? Just a second.
Q2, Q1. Okay. So now,
Ma'am, how did we get 100?
where? Because
100,
what is
100.
your profit? 30 minus Q? I'm considering here that each firm's answer profit 100.
Okay.
Okay. Because I am just showing you with an example how to do the Cournot sum. Because sums will come. And profit is what? Profit formula is what? Revenue minus
TR
cost.
minus TC.
Yeah, huh. So what is your TR?
TR is 100 into Q, P into Q, no?
Yeah. So here, what is your TR? I'm telling you 30 minus Q into that one. So if you put the value, what you will get? You do it.
30 minus Q is 10. 10.
No. P is your 30 minus Q. T minus 10. 20. 200. Correct.
Yeah.
So each individual price will be, each firm earns a profit how much then? Two firms. So 100.
Okay, okay.
Understood. Why now? Why it is same? Because it is linear. And you understand linear. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now here it is 30. Here it is 15. So now here, if I draw this thing, so it will be 7.5. And again, there is a mix. This is 10. So here it will be 7.5. And here it will be 10.
And can you explain how did you plot the graph?
Yeah. I will explain that. First, let me draw it. Okay. So this is form two's reaction curve. Okay. This is the competitive equilibrium. This is Cournot equilibrium. This is collusive equilibrium. And this is your form one reaction curve. And this is what? Collusion curve. Correct? Now, here it shows the form reaction curve and this Cournot equilibrium. So form two's reaction curve shows how Q2 in terms of Q1. That is our form two's reaction curve. So likewise, you can say for form one, it is terms of form two. So the two reaction curve have the same form. They look different because one gives Q2 in terms of Q1 and Q1 in terms of Q2. So the Cournot equilibrium is we got from the intersection of these two. And suppose instead that we assume that the two forms compete, they look different. So the Cournot equilibrium is the intersection of the two curves. At this point, each form is maximizing its own profit. Which one? This one. 10-10. Now, how I got it? You can see the price which I have got from here. So total for me, it was 100. So here we have 15, we have 10, we have 7.5. Why I have drawn this? Because in the last example, if you consider, drawn with this.
Yeah.
Okay. So here I have taken 30 minus Q. So 30 is the main thing. Now, why I draw this? I have got only that individual profit is 100. And it is 15 minus half of Q1. So 15 minus half of Q1 is how much? Q1 we have already find out. So 15 minus 2 of 5. 15 minus 5, so 10. So here I got 10. Understood?
Yeah. Can you explain this competitive equilibrium thing?
The competitive equilibrium, exactly. So here the competitive equilibrium is nothing but the competitor's output, I am telling you. And there is collusive also one thing because both are colluding. That's why I have introduced this thing. The competitive, it is basically, it is at the intersection. At each point, each firm is maximizing its own profit given its competitor. We have assumed that the two firms compete with each other. Suppose instead they they get the antitrust law, suppose. So two firms could collude. They could set their output to maximize, because if you are colluding with one producer, so you can make the price as high as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I have made it collusive. So then total revenue of firm, what will happen? Suppose that they would set their output to maximize total profit. So presumably they would split the profit evenly. So total profit will be maximized by choosing total output key Q. So here what will be the revenue? So here the total revenue will be PQ. That is 30 minus Q of, so that is 30Q minus Q square. Okay. And the marginal revenue will be del R by del Q. So that is 30 minus 2Q. So setting, if you set MR to 0, total profit will be maximized. If you put in Q will be your 15. So any combination of output Q1 and Q2 that will add up to this 15, then we tell that it is a collusion curve. So that's why I have made the collusion curve as Q1 plus Q2 equals to 15. And that I refer to as collusion curve. I'm coming to your question. Have you understood the collusion curve concept?
You can explain it again.
Yeah. I am telling that suppose that the antitrust law were relaxed and the two firms can collude. Means instead of competing, they can collude, suppose. So then what they will do, they will make the output at such a level that they can gain as much as possible. They will maximize the total profit. And presumably, they would split that profit evenly. So total profit will be maximized by choosing output Q, so that marginal revenue equal to marginal cost. Because you know the equilibrium condition is what? MR equal to MC. Okay. So now the total revenue of the firm will be how much? I have taken 30 minus Q. So 30 minus 30Q minus Q square P of R. And what will be my marginal revenue? Marginal will be del TR by del Q. Means 30 minus 2Q. So
Yeah.
if you set MR to 0, then you know MR equal to MC. So 30 minus 2Q equal to 0, or 30 equals to 2Q, or Q is 15. Okay. So the
Yeah.
collusion curve is at 15 because they are colluding. Now it is clear?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So if firm agree to share profit equally, each will produce the half. So that will be Q1 7.5 and Q2 7.5. Done. Now, if you expect that both firms now produce less, you expect that both firms produce less. So then each firms will earn higher profit. That in the Cournot equilibrium. So here it is the competitive output which is coming by setting price equal to the marginal cost. So there are three scenarios, and accordingly we are having the thing. So that's why it is the competitive equilibrium. By setting price equal to marginal cost.
Okay.
Okay. So you understood with the graph and the sums, like this way you have to do. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So now you have done. There is another concept, that is your first mover advantage. First mover advantage, or what we call as Stackelberg model.
Equilibrium.
Stackelberg. Yeah, correct. So that one we will do. Okay. So now what is this? So you have assumed that two duopoly, when oligopoly model, in which this one, though it was like Cournot model. So now when 1 minute. Okay. Hello, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So we were doing with the Stackelberg model. What is the Stackelberg model? Oligopoly model in which one firm sets its output before other firms do. Okay. So say, assume that there are two duopolists who are making their output decision at the same time. Now let's see what happens if one of the firm can set it output first. So then is it advantageous to go first? Many things will come into question. So if I continue with this example only, considering P equal to 30 minus Q, then so Q is the total output. Suppose firm 1 sets its output first
Hmm.
and then firm 2. So after observing firm 1's output, it will make the decision. So in setting output, firm 1 must therefore consider how firm 2 will require. Now here, the how it is different. The Stackelberg model is different from the Cournot model, in which neither firm has any opportunity to react in the Cournot model. So now let's begin with firm 2. So I will consider, because it makes its output decision after firm 1, so it will consider firm 1 as fixed. So considering firm 1 as fixed, firm 2's profit maximizing output will be given by its Cournot reaction curve. So the firm 2's reaction curve will be Q2 equal to 15 minus half of Q1. Okay. So now what about firm 1 now? So to maximize profit, it will choose Q1 so that its marginal revenue equal to marginal cost, that is 0. So we know firm 1's revenue curve is how much? PQ1. So that is 30 Q1 minus Q1 square minus Q2 Q1. Okay. So now, because your R1 depends on Q2, so firm 1 must anticipate how much firm 2. Hello?
Sorry मैम,
Hello?
I left the meeting due to network issue. Like can आप वापस बता सकते हो?
Okay, okay. So when you left, actually, I'm looking at the screen, so I don't have any idea when you left. Just tell me where you stopped.
Yeah, my network got lost during the starting part of sticker. I mean from yeah, from here.
Here. Oh my God. Okay, okay,
I
okay. I
mean,
got it.
this- from here,
Actually,
the
no.
Spiegelberg
Okay,
model from the Cournot model. Yeah,
okay,
from
okay,
this.
okay. The thing is that, Gauri, I just look at the screen because when you do the class, no, you can see the screen. So that's why there is a sound, and I understood. So just tell me, okay, if you sometimes get, it might happen, okay, so that I can understand. Means after you rejoin,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that I can make you understand. Yeah. So till this much you have done.
Yeah.
Okay, so suppose firm 1 sets its output first, and then firm 2, after observing firms on output, it will make its output decision. Correct? So the Stackelberg model is different from the Cournot model. So let's begin with firm 2, I am telling you. So consider firm 1 as fixed because firm 1 will take. So firm 2 will make it output decision after firm 1. Firm. So it takes firm 1 output as fixed. So firm two's profit maximizing output is given by Cournot reaction curve. So which we have already derived as equation. So firm two's reaction curve will be Q2 is 15 minus half of Q1, which I have written. So then what about firm 1? To maximize profit, it will choose Q1. So that is marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. So firm 1's revenue we have already found out, if you remember, that is PQ1. So that is 30Q1 minus Q1 square minus Q2 Q1. Now, R, R1 depend, till this much you understood now?
Yeah.
Okay. So now because R1 depends on Q2, firm 1 must anticipate how much firm 2 will produce. It has to anticipate. So firm 1 knows, however, that firm 2 will choose Q2 according to the reaction curve. So if you substitute this equation which I have already written, if you substitute this equation to this equation, that is the revenue one, then you will get firm one revenue. So substituting, sorry, you told anything?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Firm one's revenue curve is R1, that is 30Q1 minus Q1 square minus Q1, and then you put the value. So 15 of this. If you solve, you get 15Q1 minus half of Q1 square. And its marginal revenue will be del R1 of del Q1. That is 15 minus Q1. Okay. So if I set AMR1 to 0, it will give me Q1 as 15. And from firm 2's reaction curve, we find that Q2 is 7.5. Similarly, putting the value. So firm 1 produces, no, from firm 2 square we get, yeah. So firm 1 produces twice as much as firm 2 and makes twice as much profit.
From where are we getting Q2 ka value? From where are we getting it?
From firm two's reaction curve.
Okay, okay.
I have already mentioned Q15 minus half of Q1.
Yeah, yeah,
So if you put the value, you get 7.5. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So firm 1 produces twice as much as firm 2 and makes twice as much as profit. So going first, gives firm 1 an advantage. So you may think that it seems disadvantageous to announce your output first. Why then? The reason is that announcing first creates a fait accompli. No matter what your competitor does, your output will be large. And to maximize profit, your competitor must take your large output level as given and set a low level of output. So if your competitor produced a large level of output, it would drive price down and you would both lose money. So unless your competitor views getting even as more important than making money, it will be irrational for it to produce a large amount. So basically, this Cournot and Stackelberg are alternative representation of oligopolistic behavior.
Okay.
Okay. And
Yeah.
which model is more appropriate if you think it depends on the industry. If the industry is composed of, if I say the difference between which one is more appropriate. Okay. So it depends on the industry. Okay. So for an industry, if say roughly similar firms are there, so none of which has a strong operating advantage, then which one will be? Obviously, the Cournot model will be famous. No one to take the first mover advantage. But if there is dominating, that is dominating. You cannot say monopoly because that will be sold. Dominating are there. Like then, in that case, it will be more realistic for Stackelberg. So it depends on the type of industry. Now we will do with Bertrand model. Bertrand model. Okay. So what is it? We have assumed that our oligopolistic firms compete by setting quantity. In many oligopolistic industry, however, competition occur along price dimension. So automobile company view price as a key strategic behavior, and each one chooses its price with its competitor in mind. In this section, we use the Nash equilibrium to study price competition. So what is this Bertrand model? Bertrand model is oligopoly model in which firms produce a homogeneous good. Each firm treats the price of its competitors as fixed. So, and all firms decide simultaneously what price to charge. Okay. Noted?
Yeah.
Okay. So this Bertrand model was developed in 1883, and it was a French economist who developed this, Joseph Bertrand. So, like the Cournot model, it applies to firms that produce the same homogeneous good and make their decision at the same time. So, in this case, however, the firm choose price instead of quantity. That is the main context. Price instead of quantities. Okay. So, we will see. Let's return to that same example. I'm considering with this one only. So, say that market demand curve is given by P being 30 minus Q. Okay. So here Q is Q1 plus Q2. You consider Q1 plus Q2. So it is again a total production of homogeneous good. Total production of homogeneous good. Okay. So now this time we assume that both firms have a marginal cost. Marginal cost of what? Marginal cost of $3. So here MC1 is MC2, that is $3. Now we can show that the Cournot equilibrium for this duopoly, which results when both firms choose simultaneously, is same. If 3, 3, then Q1 is equal to Q2 is equal to 9. You can also check this in the Cournot equilibrium. The market price is 12. So each firm makes a profit of 81 when the market price is 12. So now suppose this duopolies compete by simultaneously choosing a price. So what price will each firm choose? Similarly, like that one, Stagelberg model, first mover advantage, who will move first? Similarly, which price they will choose? So what price they will choose and how much profit will each firm will each earn? So what price to answer this question we have to note, because the good is homogeneous, consumer will purchase only from the lowest price seller. That is the main thing. So if two firms charge different price, the lower price firm will supply the entire market and higher price firm will do nothing. So if both firms charge the same price, consumer will be indifferent for whom to buy. So there is a Nash equilibrium concept in this case. Nash equilibrium. What is that? Nash equilibrium is when set of strategies or actions in which each firm does the best it can given its competitor's action. So that is what we call as Nash equilibrium. So now here there is a case of Nash equilibrium. If you think about this problem a little, you will see that both of them have an incentive to cut price, because the Nash equilibrium is the competitive outcome that both firms sets. Price equal to marginal cost. So say price 1 equal to price 2 is $3. Then industry output is 27 units, of which each firm will produce 13.5. Now, because price is equal to marginal cost, both firm earn zero profit. Firm earns zero profit. Okay. So to check that this outcome is a Nash equilibrium, asks whether either firm will have any incentive to change its price. Might be it happen. So suppose firm 1 raised its price. It will then lose all of its sale. Correct. If firm 1 is rising the price and it is compared to firm 2 is low for firm 2, so everybody will buy from firm 2. So it will then all it sell now, therefore be no better off. Now, if instead it lower its price, and again it will get the entire market, but would lose money on every unit it produced. So now if firm 1 reduces, then it will cover entire market. I last also told this thing, but will lose some money. Okay? On every unit it produces. So it will be what's up. Therefore, firm 2 has no incentive to deviate. It's doing the best it can do to maximize profit given what its competitor is doing. Now, why there can be a Nash equilibrium in which firms charge the same price but a higher one, say here, $5. It was $3. So say $5. Why it can't? So that each made same profit because Nash equilibrium, each firm would want to undercut its competitor. Correct? So such undercutting will continue until the price drop to price 3. Because here it is price 3 from calculation. So the Bertrand model has been criticized on several grounds. But in the Cournot model, each firm made a profit. In the Bertrand model, the firm's price at marginal cost and makes no profit. So there, in Bertrand model, there is no profit. Though it is similar for homogeneous product, just like Cournot, but no profit. Because they are on the basis of what others do. And if they deviate, then there is a problem because it's based on price only. But there are certain pitfalls. What are the limitations? First, when firms produce a homogeneous good, it is more natural to compete by setting quantity rather than price. Okay. And second, if firms do set price and choose the same price, say as the model predicts what share of total sales will go to each one. So we assume that sales will be divided equally among firms, but there is no reason why this must be the case. So despite this shortcoming, the Bertrand model is useful. Why? Because it shows how the equilibrium output or outcome can depend critically on the firm choice of strategic variable. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So next day we will continue with this. You have something price signaling, price leadership and dominant firm model. And then we will come to Cartel. So it's a long one. And then we will do some sums. As I did one sum like this, I will do some sums. And we will go to the next thing, game theory. Okay. Till
Yeah.
this, if you have any problem, do tell me. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, mom.